Happy Monday, Mercy House. I hope that you're still thinking about yesterday. Part of the reason that we're doing these Q&A video links for Mondays is so that we continue to think about what we heard on Sunday during the week. And man, yesterday I got a great question from someone who really investigated the Christian faith, trying to figure this thing out, and they heard me talk about imputation, the transference of the sin of the person to the animal, and the righteousness, the unblemished nature of the animal to the person. And then they came up to me and they said, okay, I get that. I get sort of the ancient mindset of imputation, but why is that something that needs to happen between humans and Jesus? And I thought, man, that's a good question. And it really goes back to Genesis and the beginning of humanity, and God saying to Adam and Eve in the garden, if you choose to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you will die. And it was more than some death tree. It really symbolized human beings making a choice to live independently from God. And he said, if you do that, there's going to be consequences, and the consequences are going to be death. And when the Bible uses death, it's more than just your heart stops beating, but it's a holistic condition which includes physical death, but it's also the death in relationships between human beings, the death that people experience within themselves, the death that ultimately the worst death is the death of a person's relationship with God. So when Adam and Eve did that, it was sort of like pulling the emergency lever in an airplane. The whole system was changed. And the Apostle Paul, he describes this really well in Romans 5, verse 12. He says, therefore, just as sin came into the world through one man, and death through sin, and so death spread to all men because all sinned. Do you hear it? So it's like once Adam and Eve sinned, then it opened up this condition of death to the whole world. But then later on, in that same chapter, verse 17, some good news. It says, if because of one man's trespass, talking about Adam, death reigned through that one man, much more will those who receive the abundance of grace and the free gift of righteousness reign in life through the one man, Jesus Christ. So while God said, the wages of sinning against me, living independently from me, is death, he also sends his son to die in our place so that that life can be returned to us. And so that's the necessary imputation, is that death, the consequences of our sin, would transfer to Jesus, and then eternal life would transfer to us. So I hope you'll come Tuesday night or Wednesday night for midweek and continue to discuss this. You may have noticed I didn't get to the sin purification offerings, the guilt offerings. We'll talk about those this week. And then also, start reading Leviticus in chapter 8, which will be about ordaining the priest, which is a really interesting section that I think you'll begin to get a lot out of. And then on Sunday, hopefully, you'll be ready to think about that. Also, let me encourage you, send your questions to AskMERCY on the Twitter account. Also, you can text those to our church number, 413-374-7532. And again, hope to see you on Tuesday or Wednesday. Have a great week.